What's that joke? A pessimist looks both ways on a one-way street.
That's funny.
I do that. I'm like, I'm a crazy driver in DC.
I don't trust this. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that turns down the one-way street, which is why I stay out of DC.
Oh, a game of chicken, eh? Yeah.
So, I think going back to the point of saving, I think whether you're a pessimist or an optimist or a realist, I think you have to plan for today and for tomorrow. I think for me, part of that is the freedom aspect of not being dependent on other people.
Yeah.
For my security.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, I depend on the police. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm unarmed. Don't come break into my house.
Yeah.
But I don't have a gun, so I do depend on others on some things.
Yeah.
I depend on the stock market. I depend on, monetary systems, stuff like that. I depend on the grocery store to have food when I go there. But I also plan for the future so that I'm not entirely dependent.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where I don't give anything back to those people. You know?
Yeah.
So there is a fair trade between me and the grocery store for them to provide me with my food. There's a fair trade between me and the town of La Plata for them to provide me with a sheriff's or a police department.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
it's funny because out of a lot of my friends, my friend that's a police officer, he's the most optimistic, and he sees people on their worst day. That's his job. Like, every day he sees people, 20, 30 people on their worst day.
I think you could last long as a cop.
Me?
If you weren't an optimist.
Yeah, but he just knows how to be optimistic about it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thoughts on it?
Just, like the past 2 weeks, I was a little depressed because, you know how, like you said, every time you kind of get close to somebody, they move away. Yeah. I just felt like.
Did a friend move away?
No, but I just feel like, a lot of my close friends, you and other friends, we're in our mid-30s, and it's just like, I try to plan something sometimes, and they can't make it because they're working or, kids, or they got family things. I'm like, what happened to when we were teenagers? Like, we just made time. Like, I understand we have responsibilities, but it just feels depressing sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know you invite me to stuff, and I can't, and I don't go, and it's my fault. It's my choosing to not go. So I understand. But it's just like,
and so when I say no to your thing, understand.
Oh,
it's
I know.
Because you said no to mine.
Oh, see, I don't like that mind game, though. I hate that keeping records for records, But yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, good.
So look at it this way. We've got 40, 50 years of friendship ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be as great as it was when we were teenagers, but those teenage years lasted 5-6 years.
Yeah, true.
So we get a lot longer time with our friends now as adults.
Yeah.
And a lot more freedom to do stuff. We were not that free as teenagers.
Yeah.
We were broke.
Yeah.
We had freedom to stay out till 3 o'clock in the morning, but we had no money to actually do anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just, I was feeling depressed. I had lunch with my friend. He was the police officer, but yeah, he was just like pretty much saying what you said. He's like, and sometimes I won't text a friend because I'm like, oh, they just think I'm boring, because I'm not a DC guy. I don't like going into DC to do these things. Yeah, I don't go to shows. I don't go to sports.
I won't even go into DC if there's a great restaurant there. Even food can't get me to go do something fun.
But I don't text friends because I'm like, oh, they probably just think I'm boring, so I don't. And then he's like, yeah, you can't play that mind game, though, because they're thinking, why doesn't anybody want to text me and hang out? So it's both ways.
Yeah, because the best way to hang out is to do nothing together.
Yeah, that's what I like to do, is just do nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, but
and we have freedom to do that now too, because we work jobs with normal schedules. It's not like you had some friends that worked night shifts back when you were teenagers.
Yeah. And it's especially different now because
we don't work weekends like we used to have to do back then.
And while I'm bored during lunchtime, my other friends are in their 9 to 5 jobs. I'm like, man, this sucks.
Note that you said that. I'm going to note that.
Okay.
When we go back and listen to old episodes, I'm going to be like, and that was the episode Charlie complained about not having
enough time.
A 30-minute lunch break.
Yeah. No, I'm good. This is way better than what it was. I'm just, yeah.
That is funny, though. I wish I could be stuck in the same business or the same workday cycle as everybody else. At least then I'd have people to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's better now. Do you still feel it's better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Nerd talk?
Yes. Speaking of childhood and teenage years, 5 movies from our childhood that have stuck with us and that still stand out today. Do you mean still stand out in general,
in our
or
mind.
to us?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's
all right.
I could still think of and be like, oh, that was great. So I did something specific with this one. I tried to limit it to movies that I saw before I was 10.
Oh, okay.
So,
I did.
I don't know that I necessarily might have seen them before they were 10, but they at least came out before I was 10, and I probably saw them before I was 10.
I'm right around that area because I did my 5 movies were from 90 to 93, so that was when I was 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, go ahead. You start it.
And they're not in order.
Okay.
So I don't know what order to go to.
I just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about, and I have 7 on here, so I've got to decide.
Oh man, already breaking the rules.
The
you
first
libertarian,
one I'm going to talk about The Princess Bride.
Okay.
For me, is one of the first movies that stands out in my head. I can remember watching this movie for the first time, actually, and my aunt and uncle were up from Southern California, and I think my uncle might have bought it and brought it over and said, you guys need to see this movie, but we all watched it together in my parents' bedroom because that's where the TV was. So I don't know how many of us, would they have had kids? I don't know if they had kids already or not, or maybe they were infants or something like that, but I was young. I was probably like 5 or 6 when I saw this movie. I don't know. My kids have already seen it, but I distinctly remember the scene. You're familiar with Princess Bride, right? So when Wesley throws when Fezzik throws the rock at Wesley's head and it nearly hits him in the head and it crashes like right in front of him, I was eating ice cream at that scene and tossed my ice cream up in the air and it landed in my lap because it scared me so much. And that still can't. I mean, I know it's coming now, but that's still like a distinct
PTSD
jump point for me. My kids jumped at it when I showed the movie to them.
Without saying anything?
Yeah, I didn't tell them at all.
Oh,
I didn't want to spoil that for them. But yeah, that was a great movie for me as a kid because it was about, pirates and sword fighting and everything that the grandpa tries to sell to Fred Savage. That's great about it. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. And it's 30 years old almost. And I think it still stands the test of time. Yeah. As a great movie.
I love the wine scene, the mind game between the guy.
Oh yeah. I thought you said
like,
wind. Like winding.
No,
what were they winding?
No.
Yeah, the wine scene. Is the poison in the glass in front of you?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And that has, the movie has subtleties too that I didn't understand when I first watched it. But that came to me and stuff like never be involved in a land war in Asia, kind of thing like that. So
awesome. My first one I thought of was Home Alone.
Okay.
We watch it probably 2 times every Christmas. My kids love it. They think it's so funny when the robbers are. First of all, if it was real life, those robbers would be like have brain damage. He's put an iron on his head that falls.
Hit in the face with paint cans.
Yeah. BB guns to your crotch and stuff.
Staple gun to the nose.
Yeah. But it stands the test of time. It just and the relationship.
Home Alone 1, I assume you're talking about.
Home Alone 1, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And just the relationship that Kevin has with his family and Buzz,
Horrible relationship.
Yeah. The best line though is in when Kevin looks at Buzz's girlfriend. He's like, Buzz's girlfriend? Woof! Which was actually one of the producer's son dressed as a wig to make it look extra ugly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That movie could have easily made my list.
Yeah.
I remember after watching Home Alone, me and my best friend would spend hours on graph paper drawing our house
the
and all
traps.
All the traps and
Yeah.
stuff. That I think we talked about this
Yeah,
on
we
our
did.
zombie
Yep.
episode.
Yep.
So yeah, that was good. I liked Home Alone 2
Yeah, I
as
do
well.
too.
That was a good movie.
Usually, you know, the sequel isn't as good, but
Mhm.
yeah. And they took the same formula too, and it still worked.
Mm-hmm. I like the thing that came out on the internet that says basically that his dad was trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Where
I think I did.
They purposely left him there, and his dad hired crooks.
Yeah.
Wanted the crooks to come and get rid of his son.
Yeah. Because I think somebody commented it was because the dad from Home Alone was in The Sopranos. He was a crooked cop.
Mm-hmm.
So it was tying that into it too.
That's funny. Cool.
All right, what you got second?
Gonna go with Surf Ninjas
Yep.
for my second one.
I knew you were going to put that one on there.
So Surf Ninjas for me captures all of the martial arts movies that I loved as a kid. Three Ninjas, Turtles, all that kind of stuff. But Surf Ninjas was my favorite one from it because it was hilarious. The two kids were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They were princes in real life, kind of a thing. It had a Beach Boys song in it. Surfing, Sega Game Gear kind of thing. So yeah, and I watched Surf Ninjas this past summer on video cassette at my parents' house while I was out there. And I'm like, man, this movie is so good. I can still remember
The lines
and everything like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Surf Ninjas is a fun. I was totally into karate movies, like not real karate movies. I got into Jackie Chan eventually as a kid, but not like dangerous karate movies like American Ninja or something like that. But just the fun kids doing martial arts movies. So Surf Ninjas stands out for me.
Awesome.
On that one.
Speaking of like martial arts, I put down Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
Is that the one where he died filming that?
No. This was made in '93, so it was just a retelling of his Bruce Lee's story life. But yeah, it was awesome. It started him off in China. I think China. Yeah. And then going to college and like he slowly started to teach people Wing Chun or whatever he made. Mm-hmm. What Taekwondo? No, Jeet Kune Do. Mm-hmm. That's what he made. Jeet Kune Do. Yeah. And how he became a movie star, and he was fighting the curse, some generational curse. So it was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. And then because that he grew up in I think he came over here in the 70s or 60s or something. Mm-hmm. And it was, I guess, taboo for white people to date Chinese people. Mm-hmm. So his wife went to the same his future wife, they went to the same college, and his mom was racist. Her mom was racist, and just dealing with all that, it was awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I think he did some kind of tournament there, and somebody like paralyzed him, and then he had to fight the guy.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and then he had to fight the guy again because he was trying to show everybody Jeet Kune Do, and he said, "I can beat this guy, I can beat anyone in here in 60 seconds." And then that guy busts through the door. And then, but of course, you know, he does beat him in 60 seconds. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was intense. I probably wore the tape out on that one.
Wow. That's the one I am thinking of. He didn't die. He got his back broken in the fight. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Along those lines about the realistic martial arts, another one of my favorite was Kung Fu. I think it was The Legend Continues.
I can't remember.
But it was David Carradine as... and it wasn't the early ones that came out in like the 70s, because I think he had another show where it was in the 70s.
Okay.
This was later in life when his son was a cop.
Oh.
I don't remember where it took place, but I remember watching that show.
Yeah.
Along the same lines as Bruce Lee.
Uh-huh.
Karate Kid, all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. So, cool. I don't know where to go next. All right, I'm going to go with this one. For me, Last of the Mohicans stands out in my mind because, then this is why, is because it was my first rated R movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Were you allowed?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This was the first rated R movie that my parents let me watch. We watched with them on a movie night.
Yeah.
It stands out to me. We rented Backdraft and Last of the Mohicans.
Backdraft.
And I was only allowed to stay up and watch Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch Backdraft. But my parents had a soft spot. My parents had a soft spot for historical movies,
Oh, okay.
cowboys, you know, Civil War, Revolutionary War, stuff like that. So they always made more exception for war violence than they would have for like
sex violence.
Well, or like Backdraft, like you know, burning in a fire,
okay.
modern day firefighters kind of a thing. So Last of the Mohicans always stands out to me. I mean, a guy got burned at the stake in it. I don't know if they made me close my eyes or something on that, but that's a pretty scarring scene in it. Definitely rates the rating the R rating.
Yeah.
But that one stands out to me. My first rated R. So.
One movie for me was Robin Hood with Kevin Costner.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that at a dollar theater with my mom in Waldorf, and then she got it on tape, and I just watched it. I just thought it was awesome. Like, and this was before, you know, I don't remember when that came out, 90-something.
2 or something like that.
But this was
Men in Tights came out in 93.
Oh, okay, so it was,
so it might have been 91 or 92 for...
But, you know, when you're like 11, 12, you don't understand how good actors are. You just know they're in the movie. But looking back, it's like, wow, that had Morgan Freeman in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Christian Slater.
Yeah, Christian Slater. The one guy who always plays a bad guy.
I almost wanted to say Jeremy Irons, but it's not him.
Yeah.
It's Hadoken!